Here is the real question nobody asks before a camping trip. Do you actually need a $180 power station, or does a $50 phone charger solve the same problem? The answer depends entirely on what you are powering, and that is exactly what this comparison is about. Solar panels for camping have gone from niche gear to something most outdoor buyers are seriously considering in 2026. And the range is genuinely wide, from lightweight foldable panels under $50 to serious high-wattage setups built for extended off-grid trips. The problem is, the spec sheets rarely tell you what actually matters in the field, how they perform under partial cloud cover, how durable the connectors feel after a season of use, and whether the wattage on the label matches the wattage you actually get. So today, we are ranking 5 options from worst to best, not by price, and not just by specs, but by how well each one actually fits the buyer it is meant for. Coming in at number 5 is the Flex Solar 40 watts, and it sits at around $54. That price is doing a lot of work here, because at that level, you are not getting a workhorse. You are getting a casual use companion for day trips and light camping. The panel folds down to roughly 8 by 11 inches and weighs just under 2 pounds, so it genuinely fits in a side pocket without drama. It carries both a USB-A port with QC 3.0 and a USB-C port with PD 2.0, each rated up to 18 watts. For keeping a phone alive on a trail, that is perfectly adequate. Now the trade-offs. Flex Solar rates these cells at 24% conversion efficiency, which sounds strong, but many owners report that real-world output does not always match that number, especially in anything less than direct, unobstructed sunlight. And partial shade can reduce performance significantly, which matters more than most buyers expect in forest or cloud cover. There are also some reports in the broader category of delamination over time with extended outdoor use, so long-term durability is worth watching. This is not the panel for serious off-grid setups or power-hungry devices. But if you want something light, affordable, and genuinely useful for casual hiking days, it earns its spot. Skip it if reliability over seasons matters to you. But if budget is the ceiling, this is where we start. Coming in at number 4, the Big Blue 28 watts sits at around $67 and positions itself as a step up in both power and build quality. On paper, that case is easy to make. You get a claimed 28 watts of output, dual USB-C ports alongside a USB-A, and a polymer surface that Big Blue says resists rain and wear better than conventional panels. The folded size is genuinely compact, and at 1.5 pounds, it travels light. For a mid-range solar charger, that spec sheet reads well. Now the important caveat. Several buyers report that the actual real-world output does not consistently match what the product page suggests. Solar chargers are always dependent on conditions, but the gap between claimed and delivered power here is worth knowing before you buy. The IP protection rating and charging specifications are areas where some owners feel the listing over-promises. That does not make it a bad charger, but it does mean you should verify the current specs carefully before purchasing. For casual outdoor use and emergency preparedness, it is a reasonable pick. For anyone planning to rely on it for serious power needs on longer trips, that uncertainty matters. If budget and brand familiarity are your priorities, it is worth considering. But the next option is where confidence in the specs starts to feel more earned. Number 3 is the Bouger 200 watts portable solar panel, currently retailing for around $179.99. On paper, this is a genuinely strong spec sheet. N-type solar cells rated at up to 25% conversion efficiency, a fiberglass reinforced build, IP65 water resistance, plug-and-play XT60 and DC7909 connectors, and an 8.2-foot extension cable for flexible placement. For camping, RV use, or off-grid power, that combination looks compelling at this price. Now the important caveat. Bouger RV holds a 4.2 out of 5 on Trustpilot across a large volume of reviews, which suggests most buyers walk away satisfied. But some owners report significant quality control inconsistencies, including defective units arriving out of the box. That is not a small thing when you are relying on this panel in the field. The company does offer a 30-day return window, which provides some recourse, but it does not solve the frustration of a unit failing when you need it most. This is the kind of product where the specs are genuinely good, but the real-world experience appears to vary more than it should at this price point. Buy this if you are a casual user who camps occasionally and can absorb that risk. Skip it if reliable, consistent performance is non-negotiable for your setup. Moving up to our number 2 pick, we have the Grecel 200 watts foldable solar panel, sitting at around $150. On paper, this is a meaningful step up. 200 watts rated output, 23.5% conversion efficiency using monocrystalline cells with ETFE lamination, IP65 waterproofing, 4 adjustable kickstands, and a 4-in-1 output cable covering DC, XT60, Anderson, and aviation connections. That compatibility alone makes it genuinely useful for most power stations on the market. Build quality gets solid praise from buyers, and the folded briefcase form factor at under 18 pounds is practical for van life, RV trips, or base camp setups. Now, the important caveat. In real-world testing, this panel achieved around 117 watts under optimal conditions, well short of the 200-watt rating. That gap matters if you are planning your charging math around the spec sheet. It is not unusual for solar panels to underperform their rated output in practice, but a gap this size is worth factoring in before you buy. If you need dependable, predictable output for a serious off-grid setup, keep that number in mind. For casual campers who want a durable, well-built panel with broad compatibility and solid everyday performance, this is a strong option at the price. And here is where the list takes a meaningful step forward. The zero-core 300-watt portable solar generator comes in at around $179, and unlike a standalone panel, this is a complete system. A 280 watt-hour battery pack, a 110-volt pure sine wave AC outlet, multiple USB and DC ports, and a 60-watt monocrystalline solar panel, all in one box. That matters because most buyers in this category end up spending more piecing a compatible setup together themselves. For the money, this is hard to argue with as a starting point. The 280 watt-hours capacity is genuinely useful for camping. Enough to charge phones and tablets multiple times, run a laptop through a workday outdoors, or keep a small light source going overnight. The solar panel uses monocrystalline cells with a rated conversion efficiency around 22%, which puts it in competitive territory for panels at this price. Now, the trade-offs. The 300-watt AC output ceiling means you are working with small appliances only. Think CPAP machines, laptops, or fans, not coffee makers or hair dryers. Many owners report solid day-to-day reliability, and with over 1,700 reviews sitting at 4.4 stars, buyer satisfaction trends positive. This is the right pick if you want one purchase that gets you fully set up for off-grid camping without the guesswork. Now let's put all 5 side by side, because the right choice really does depend on what you actually need. On price to power alone, the mid-range options tend to deliver the strongest return. You get meaningful capacity without paying for features casual campers may never use. Battery capacity trade-offs matter most here. Higher capacity sounds better on paper, but it often means added weight and longer recharge times, which matters when you're off-grid. And hidden costs, replacement cables, mounting gear, compatible accessories can quietly shift the value equation. So match the product to your use case first, then check the price. So here is where I leave you. If you camp casually and want something reliable without overthinking it, go with the safest mid-range pick on this list. If battery capacity and off-grid charging are your priority, the high output option earns that money. If the budget is tight, the entry-level choice may be enough. Just go in knowing the trade-offs. Match the product to how you actually camp, not how you imagine you might someday camp. Links are in the description. I'll see you in the next one. All the links are in the description below. If this comparison helped, subscribe for more of these across different categories and price ranges. I'll see you in the next one.